Hey guys, Coach Phil Hueston here from the 4 Pillar Fitness Podcast. I am coming to you today with a quick video about some stuff that I've been doing quite a bit of reading about lately and a little bit of research on. And I want to share some stuff with you that you may or may not have been thinking about in your fitness journey. The title of this is, get more sleep or die fat and weak. And that sounds a little bit over the top, but it's not really. And I'll tell you why. Are you getting enough sleep to support your health, fitness, and performance goals? Turns out most Americans don't. It's somewhere between 50 and 60% of Americans get less than 7 hours of sleep at least one night a week. And somewhere in a 40% range are getting less than 7 hours of sleep on average. In fact, the CDC says that about 35% of Americans are sleep deprived. Losing sleep or not getting healthy sleep makes a whole lot of bad stuff happen to your body. Some of it a little bit bad, some of it really crappy. Let's start with the basics. So the basics are, when you're sleep deprived, it's kind of like being drunk. You're low energy, your emotions suck, and you tend to make some pretty bad choices, like picking a fight with some guy in the corner of the bar or giving your number to a stalker. But hey, we're talking about you here, not me, not some guy I know. Lack of sleep actually changes the way your brain works. It dulls activity in the frontal lobe, where the decisions get made and where you really control yourself. Not to mention the fact that sleep deprivation increases the stimulation from food in the reward centers of the brain. So the parts of your brain that release dopamine get stimulated by food more so when you're sleep deprived than when you're sleep enriched. It also seems to increase your desire for high-calorie, high-carb, high-fat foods. So, suddenly that ice cream sundae with the melted butter on it and a side of fries, that starts looking really good when you've been sleep deprived. In fact, there was a study done, 12 men only allowed 4 hours of sleep consistently over a period of nights. Their calorie intake went up by 22%, and their fat intake almost doubled when compared to when they had 8 hours of sleep. But it's not just that you're making bad decisions because your brain's messed up. There's chemistry at work here too, biochemistry, right? So sleep screws with your hunger hormones. The increased appetite that most sleep-deprived people report most likely has to do with the two big hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin. These two are at odds with each other. Ghrelin is the hormone that says, hey, y'all, let's eat, right? And that one's released in the stomach, and it's got a direct hotline to the brain. Levels of ghrelin rise when the stomach is empty, and they fall after you eat. Leptin is ghrelin's opposite and completes the cycle by signaling fullness to the brain. It fills that cycle out and completes everything, Jerry Maguire style. All right, so that's not Jerry Maguire, but you get the point, right? With sleep deprivation, the body makes more ghrelin and not enough leptin. This likely has a connection to elevated cortisol levels, this guy right here, and the brain's perception that added fuel is going to be needed to compensate for a lack of rest and recovery. So that's an important thing to remember. If you're not getting your sleep, your leptin and ghrelin levels start to change. You start to get hungrier at times when you might not otherwise be hungry, and your cortisol levels rise as well. In one study of 1,000 people, they found that their sleep-deprived people had 14.9% higher ghrelin levels and 15.5% lower leptin levels. Leptin is a big hormone for those of you who want to drop fat and lose weight. Anyone who's ever tried to lose weight and get in shape already knows that when your appetite's roaring, managing your food intake gets really tough really fast. Here's a little something from the Annals of Internal Medicine. They had two groups of people. They were fed the exact same diet over a series of days and nights. One group got adequate sleep, one had to cut back on sleep. The adequate rest group saw half the weight they lost come from body fat. The sleep-deprived people saw that amount cut by 55%. So get your sleep if you want to lose your body fat, right? University of Chicago researchers coined a phrase called metabolic grogginess. And after what they found was after just 4 nights of sleep, bad sleep, your metabolism can slow because the hormones begin regulating your fat cells suffer. After 4 nights of bad or disrupted sleep, your insulin sensitivity can drop by more than 30%. And that's a big deal. So you become insulin resistant. And when you're insulin resistant, your body does a terrible job processing lipids and fatty acids in the bloodstream. So it just stores it as fat because it's just easier. That's not enough. I got some more for you. So too little sleep triggers spikes of this guy right here, cortisol, which is a critical hormone for certain things, like giving you the immediate jolt of energy to either run from or fight the saber-toothed tiger or that screaming idiot boss of yours. But excess cortisol in the bloodstream causes problems. For this discussion, the one we're worried about is the fact that it signals the body to conserve energy for use while you're awake. That translates to your body holding on to body fat. So you're fluffing those pillows, you have to get some sleep. And like the old TV ad said, wait, there's more. Sleep deprivation may lower your resting metabolic rate. So your RMR is important, right? Really important. In one study, they had 15 men had their RMR measured. Then they were kept awake for 15 straight hours. When it was remeasured, it was 5% lower. And also, the other thing that was really important about this particular study was when they rested, when they had them eat, their metabolic rate after eating was 20% lower. That's a big deal. RMR is the metabolic rate you get in your body, the amount of calories you burn doing nothing, essentially. You're not without exercise, without movement, and you're resting. Your post-meal metabolic rate is important because if it's low, you're more likely to store food as energy. Food energy as body fat, excuse me, and that's not a good thing at all, right? So, and I'll say one more thing to that. Sleep deprivation may actually work on your genes to make you fatter. The DNA genes, that is, not your blue genes. So a study in Sweden tested 15 healthy people, normal weight. They gave them the same diet and the same activity levels. Each person got one full night of sleep and then one night wide awake. They tested subcutaneous fat and skeletal muscle tissue samples from each one after each night. They also used blood samples to check blood sugar, amino acids, fatty acids, and some other metabolites. They were looking to see if a thing called DNA methylation had occurred. DNA methylation is an indicator of whether specific genes are being turned on and off. In other words, are they being expressed? And what they discovered was the genes that regulate metabolism, muscle mass, and fat gain or loss were negatively affected by losing just one night of sleep, just one, okay? They saw a significant reduction in the body's ability to maintain lean mass and process body fat and regulate metabolism. So that's a pretty tough one, right? Couple reasons to get your sleep, okay? Sleep is anabolic, way more anabolic than posting your workouts on Facebook, for sure. And there's a reason I know that sounds funny, but there's a reason that newborns sleep so much. They're soaking in the wonders of growth hormone, or GH, right? Since babies are in a constant state of rebuilding, since they're growing so fast, they need that growth hormone flowing through them in a big way. So sleep jacks up their growth hormone so they can go out there and get baby jacked, a little muscular baby, right? You may not be a newborn, but you still need your growth hormone. And sleeping is the best way to crank it up. Unfortunately, the occasional cat nap's not going to cut it. You got to get sleep of like 7 to 9 hours a night to even hope to get your sleepy time growth hormone up. Sleep also makes you a better athlete. This is a really cool study that Stanford University did. They tracked their basketball team for a couple of months. They got them to add 2 hours of sleep every night over that 2 or 3 month period. This is crazy, their average speed increased by 5%. Free throw accuracy improved by 9%, which I'm sure made the coach happy. And their reflex speed improved, and they self-reported being happier. So that's an important one right there. You can actually increase your speed. You can improve your free throw shooting accuracy, or accuracy in any hand-eye coordination activity. And sleep just makes you feel better, right? When your energy levels are low, you don't feel great. When they're higher, you'll be more alert, and you're way less likely to be an a-hole to the folks around you. Less likely, of course, but you never know. So how do you make sure you're getting good, restful sleep? Let's assume that you're not a werewolf, you're not a vampire, you don't have any real problems like circadian rhythm disruption or sleep apnea. You can try these things. Shut down your electronics at least an hour before you go to bed. Don't be looking at your phone as you're trying to get some sleep, guys. Blue light is a tough one on melatonin and will keep you awake at night. Save your bedroom for the things that it's made for. Sleep and some intimacy. Think relaxation and release rather than work or entertainment. And create a bedtime ritual, right? That's not the time to tackle your big issues. Take a warm bath, take a shower, meditate, read a little bit, do some deep breathing exercises, just start to feel good a little bit. And stick to a schedule. This is a big one, right? So folks kind of vary their bedtimes and their waking times. Go to bed at the same time every night, get up at the same time every day, and do that even on weekends if you can do it. Watch what and when you eat. So it's important to avoid like real heavy meals and alcohol close to bed. You may get some heartburn, some indigestion. It might make it tough to fall asleep. And of course, caffeine's a big one, right? So that varies for everybody. For me, I can probably drink a cup of coffee at 6 p.m. and still go to bed at 10 or 11 o'clock at night and get a good night's sleep. That might not be you. So you got to find out what your caffeine tolerance is and figure out when you need to stop drinking, soda, tea, coffee, and things that have caffeine in them, and avoid that, okay? And the last one is turn out the lights. Darkness cues your body to release melatonin. You want melatonin to help you sleep better. It will make you sleep better, okay? You don't want light coming in a room. It's going to suppress your melatonin. So do yourself a favor. Get those 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Your physique's going to thank you for it. Your health's going to thank you for it. And maybe even your free throw might help you for it. All right. Listen, this has been the 4 Pillars Fitness podcast, video cast in this case. And I am Coach Phil Hueston. Keep the faith and keep after it.